Alright, here we go. Alright, here it is. Chapter 1, Episode 1, Part 1, Version 1, Verse 1, Unit 1. That's where we live. This is Vibe Check, Part 1. And today's called, What Are You Wearing, I guess, this week. The whole thought around this week is, what are you wearing? Here's the thing. Whenever you go and buy something new, or you decide to buy the newest and freshest kicks, you kind of buy it for like one or two reasons. But most of the time it's mostly like one and two together. Number one, you just really like it. It looks really cool. You think that it would look great upon your little feet. And number two, you want to tell everyone that you have it. Don't know what it is, but there's something about you buying that pair of shoes that will let other people know that you have it. And for like the 80% of the time you buy new stuff or you want new clothing, it's mostly because one and two, you really like it, you think it looks cute, and you want to tell everybody like, yeah, I got it. So my question today is, what do you think you're wearing spiritually? Yeah, that'll do it. What do you think you're wearing spiritually? And what do you think when people look at you, what do they make? Nope, can't finish that. And what do you think when people interact with you, when people see you, what do you think they're thinking? Are they thinking, yeah, they've got it, I don't know what it is, but they've got it? Or are they thinking something else? I want to give you three things Holy heck. I want to give you three things tonight that I want you to have a think about. And if you're wearing this, if you are wearing this, you're doing great, and you continue the checkpoint and you pass the checkpoint for today. But if you, at the end of this video, think that you aren't wearing any of this, I want to encourage you to chat about it in your tribes, or I want you to hit us up and let us know. Do some reflection, talk about it, hit one of your leaders up, and we will make sure that this checkpoint isn't just us pointing the finger, because most of the time it's my finger that's pointed back at me. So here's the first thing I want you to think about. Are you wearing joy? The Bible puts it like this, right? Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Now this verse in particular was written from an author who was going through the hellest of hells. He was getting persecuted left, right, and center. He was continuously getting beaten from the leaders of that time, yet he sits and he writes in his lowest points that I will rejoice in the Lord always, and again I will say rejoice, right? There's a massive difference between joy and happiness. Happiness kind of comes from what is happening now. Happiness kind of comes from, it is based off what you are going through. It is based off what is in front of you. It is a feeling, it is an emotion. But there is such a difference between happiness and joy, because with happiness, how many know that really quickly happiness can turn into sadness, can turn into anger as soon as something is taken away, or as soon as things go upsided, or as soon as gossip goes around. There's no longer happiness, but it turns quickly. Happiness is really just depending on what you are going through, what's happening, what's in front of you now. But joy is something that is strong. Joy is something that is anchored. Joy is something that is given to you, and it is something that you can hold on to through every part, through every season. And the first question for today was, are you wearing joy? Because I get a feeling that joy goes more than just what's happening now, what's happening around you, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. But joy is something that you can hold on to. Joy is something that is heavy. Joy is something that no matter where it goes, wherever you go, it will always be there. Joy is a gift. Joy is given to you from God, and if He gives it to you, the world can't take it away. Let me ask that question to you tonight, or this morning, or wherever you're watching this. Are you wearing joy? Number two, are you wearing your testimony? Because think about it, right? The Bible puts it, once again, we refer to the Bible, pretty good reference source. The Bible says that we overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. There is something absolutely powerful that happens when you have your story, when you have a story, when you share your story to other people. And sometimes we get We get shamed, we get shy. Sometimes we don't even realize that what we've been through or what we are going through is exactly what somebody else needs in this moment. Your testimony holds a lot more than just where you have been. Your testimony holds a lot more than just what you have done in the past. Your testimony has the power to let somebody else know that whatever they're going through, that it's going to be okay, that other people have been through this. Your testimony lets other people know that wherever they're at, wherever they've been through, that if God could do it for us, if God could do it for you, they can do it for him or her. Your testimony is a lot more than just a story of what you've done beforehand. Your story has so much power. And so the question number 2 today is, are you wearing your testimony? And the last one, question number 3, question number 3, are you wearing your salvation? Now, that's definitely a really weird question, because how the heck do you wear your salvation, right? Let me read you Bible this time instead of just referencing it. Ooh. This is Psalms 51, and it's let me read from verse 10. Psalms 51 verse 10, and it says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, renew a loyal spirit within me. Do not banish me from your presence, and do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of my salvation, and make me willing to obey you." That was verse 12. Restore unto me the joy of your salvation, and make me willing to obey you. That was King David writing this prayer after he slipped up and messed up. He goes away and he has this whole conversation with God, and I just love how his requests to God was to restore the joy of his salvation. In other words, he was saying that remind me on a daily basis, remind me whenever I forget the moment it felt when I realized that I was a sinner and that I needed you. Restore unto me the moment where I met your grace. Restore unto me the moment where I met the gospel, the transforming gospel. Restore unto me that very moment, the very first time I cried in a worship service, the very first time I heard a message that absolutely related to me, the very first time somebody spoke to me and shared their story, and it reminded me of what I was going through at that moment and made me turn to you. Restore unto me the joy of my salvation. This is probably one of, in my head, and this is my finger pointing back at me, this is probably one of the easiest things I tend to forget when I go throughout my day and things get hard and things get difficult and I'm no longer happy anymore and I'm trying to hold on to joy, is that I kind of forget where God has taken me from, and I kind of forget where God, the moment I first met God. And there's something absolutely amazing of that happens when I stop and I reflect and I think back to the very first moments I realized that I was a sinner, and the very first moments that I realized that I needed His grace. And this is such a cool thing to wear, our salvation. In fact, the Bible talks about wearing the helmet of salvation around our head, and it's really cool because out of all things that they've described the salvation in the armor of God, they decided to describe it as a helmet. And if you're not sure what a helmet does, what have you been doing your whole life? A helmet is put on your head to protect you from when you fall. A helmet is put on your head to protect you from bumps, from cracks. Back in those days, they were protected so that people wouldn't hit you with the sword and it would go through your head. Helmets are there to protect, and I think it's such probably a crucial and a big reminder, but we tend to forget most of the times the power of remembering our salvation and remembering the feeling, remembering that moment. And I really do believe that if you ask yourself these 3 questions over the next couple of days, what am I wearing? Am I wearing joy this morning? Am I wearing my testimony this morning? Who can I tell my testimony to? And am I wearing this morning my salvation? This is the first checkpoint. This is your first checkpoint in this Vibe Check series. And ask yourself the question, what are you wearing? If you're in tribes now, I want you, after watching this, because this thing's almost over, go back into your Zooms, go back into your hangs, go back into your groups. And I want you to chat and ask yourselves these 2 questions. What am I wearing right now? And question number 2, what do I have to take off so that I can put on joy, I can put on my testimony, I can put on salvation? Woo! Cool.